Welcome to Thursday's solo episode. I decided to be lazy today because it has been, I don't know what I was thinking, but I have overbooked myself so much this week. And of course, it's the week after we get back from holidays. So I'm already behind on emails and a bunch of stuff. So anywho, I was like, I don't even feel like setting up the lighting and the camera and taking the little USB card and putting it into the computer and downloading stuff. I'm just recording it directly into my computer. So that is where I am right meow. A little bit of an update because I'm sure many of you were concerned about my bodily functions after being in the Dominican for 5 days. And literally just eating beige food and processed cheese. So my body is recovering nicely. I was speaking to Miranda. She runs the account, The Period Lab on Instagram. I just burped because I just ate a banana really fast. Excuse me. And I was telling her about the spotting that I was having in the Dominican. And I was like, I have never experienced this in my life. And she was saying that I was convinced that it was, my body is so malnourished. It is so much in shock because I didn't even have my supplements. So I was literally just eating bread and cheese and like it was awful. Anyways, she was like, usually the spotting is because of progesterone. I think it was low progesterone. So when I got back, I was eating, she was like, the best way to, fight against that, I don't know the proper word to use, but is to increase, have high quality protein. So when we got home, I started eating lots of protein. We had steak for dinner. I had it for lunch the next day. I was having my Greek yogurt, my almonds, my usual stuff, and eggs too. And spotting instantly stopped once we were home for 24 hours. That is wild. Also, my digestive system is back on track. Literally the first after a couple days at home, I had 3 poops in one day, incredible poops. I'm not even just saying oh, I had a little bit of a poop. No, incredible poops. And I don't know if you missed the episode where I was talking about what a poop should be. Brace yourself. I hope you're sitting down because this is going to blow your mind. A poop should be a soft-ish consistency, not hard. And it should be the length of your forearm. Let that sink in. Okay? How many of you are pooping your forearm? Okay? Probably not that many. If you are eating properly, and it's not going to be the same for everybody. I have tried to adjust my diet in so many ways to appease my digestive system, and some people have a hard time digesting raw vegetables, or they add too much fiber and then they're not drinking enough water to balance out all the fiber that they're having. Anyways, I seem to be in a good spot right now, knock on wood, and I'll just go through what I am doing. So I'm still having, and obviously this is except for when I was in the Dominican where I barely pooped at all, Lord help me. I wake up, usually I would just go straight for coffee. Now what I do is I pound a bunch of water and then I have a handful of berries or a third of a banana, and then I have a small handful of nuts, usually almonds. That must get my digestive system going. I used to think if I don't eat in the morning, and I'm not I don't have an appetite in the morning, I don't want to eat. So I have to force myself to have the berries and have the nuts. I'm starting to get used to it. And I feel like that's with everything. Once you make a change, you eventually crave that and you look forward to it. So like this morning I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to have my little raspberries. Maybe that's because I was deprived of them for a week, but anywho. So get up, have my berries or banana, handful of nuts, pound water, then I will have coffee. Sometimes I put Restoralax in my coffee if I haven't gone to the bathroom the previous day, but for the most part, I don't put Restoralax in my coffee. I have been cutting back on the amount of coffee that I've been having just because when I'm pounding water when I wake up, eating my snack, then I have a mug of coffee. Sometimes I barely finish my mug of coffee. Then I have my athletic greens, and how I make my athletic greens usually, and this might be a little bit overboard, but I do the athletic greens, like the scoop of the powder. I put in the super greens, what would you call it? Like a little pouch of squirty, oh my God, like what? Gelatin liquid? I don't know what you call it. Anyways, it's like a liquid form of vitamins. So I put the super greens, Symbiotica little packet in the athletic greens. I put the vitamin C little packet of Symbiotica in the athletic greens. I put ice, I put the vitamin D, and then I shake it up vigorously and drink it with a straw. I find it tastes super good. I have that, and then if you're drinking that much, I find after a while I don't really want coffee anymore. So usually after I drive Milo to school, I'll come back and then I'll make my oatmeal. So I put NutriCleanse. I do half a cup of oats, just plain oats, a cup of water, the tablespoon of NutriCleanse in, you can order that on Amazon, in the oatmeal, put it in the microwave for 2 minutes, mix it up, put it in the microwave. Then I'll put like hemp hearts, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, walnuts, like nuts and seeds on top of that, a splash of almond milk, berries, and maple syrup. Gobble that up. Usually I wouldn't be eating a full meal until like 11:30, 12:30 sometimes, depending how busy I am. So now I'm making it a point to eat properly. And then after that, like a couple hours later, I'll have like boiled eggs if they'll fucking let me peel them properly, which usually they don't, and then I rage. Or I will, like one day I made a tuna salad sandwich. Like I'm just trying to get protein and fats into my body. I have 2 avocados sitting on my counter that I'm waiting to be ripe so I can eat them. So if you look up on Pinterest is like my favorite right now. I'll look up like eating for your cycle. And then it gives you a bunch of infographics with different foods that you can eat depending on where you are in your cycle. And I've been keeping track. Usually like women just live their life not even thinking about where they're at in their cycle and not considering that when you think about like how you feel or what kind of mood you're in or, your productivity, how much energy you have. So I have tried to be very mindful of where I'm at in my cycle. And then I'll just like pull up these infographics on Pinterest and be like, oh, like, babe, can you pick up oranges on the way home from work? Because I'm in my follicular phase and I should be, increasing my citrus, things like that. Or I should be having protein. Can we have steak for dinner? Or, whatever it might be, leafy greens. So I bought spinach and I'm putting it into scrambled eggs or like in smoothies. I'm just trying to be more mindful of that. And it's making a huge difference for my digestion, for everything. I'm also like, if I'm hungry, I'm going to eat more. Before, it's like eating to me, I'm like my brother, and I've explained this before. Like eating is annoying to me because I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. Like, it's the same with going to the bathroom. I will hold my pee all day because I'm like, I don't want to take the time. I don't want to interrupt what I'm doing to go pee. And I was like that since I was a little kid. My mom used to have to take me to the doctor and be like, she's not going pee. And I'm like, I'm playing, like, leave me alone. You know, I'm busy. And that's how I am now. My husband's like, didn't you tell me like 4 hours ago you had to go pee so badly? And I'm like, yeah, but then we went into HomeSense and I'm distracted now and now I don't have to pee, but I do have to pee. And it's the same with eating. I'm like, it's annoying. I wish someone would just put meals in front of me and then I will eat it. But I hate taking the time, but that's what I'm making myself do now. Similar to like going to Pilates, I'm trying to be better with that because I know how good it is for me and how like it changes my whole mindset. And it's like something that I'm doing specifically for myself because doing what I do, you can just do this 24/7 and it's constant. It's like, oh, I'm not going to, relax tonight and like last night, watch Vanderpump Rules because I could, work on making a new reel or podcast clip or even just like scrolling social media to see what other people are doing and like what's going on. Like I never scroll TikTok anymore because I need to do things that fill my cup instead. Like I need to fit that in during the day. So instead of scrolling TikTok before bed, I read my Kindle now and I'm like obsessed with reading. It's my favorite part of the day. My mind just like shuts off and I'm immersed into a story. I don't read nonfiction before bed. I solely read fiction unless it's like a autobiography or something. But yeah, I don't want to be reading nonfiction before bed because I don't want to be like mentally taking notes and being like, oh, this is good, I should talk about this on the podcast. Like, no, I just want my brain to be shut off. So I've been slowly making changes. And it's funny, I was watching Libby's stories the other day and she was talking about the same kind of thing of just like feeling burnt out and not doing things for yourself. So she started doing like a 10-minute workout in the morning. And I was like, yes, like you have to do that. And I messaged her and I was like, yes, like I completely relate to how you feel right now because that I started to have these feelings like November, December. And so I started to make the change of like going to Pilates and just making that a priority. It's like, Renee, you make your own hours. You work for yourself. So take the time in the morning after you drop off Milo to go to Pilates. And if you get one less reel out, per day or whatever, like who cares? You're going to be 60 years old and fucking with like Hercules arms and in shape and energetic and healthy. So what's more important, So anywho, moving into, I wasn't expecting to talk about any of that stuff, but of course I'm 13 minutes in it now and like I have my list of things that I wanted to talk about in front of me and it's like, okay, what? Like anyways, so my body is recovering nicely. So that's where all that came from. Okay, a couple things. My family, and by family I mean me and my husband, are so good at doing laundry. But we never put the clothes away. What is that about us? Like, why are there just piles of clean clothes stacked up in the closet? And like, I'll take the time to sort out, like, this is Milo's pile of clean clothes. This is my pile of clean clothes. This is my husband's. But like, somebody would have to hold a gun to my head to make me hang them up on hangers or put them where they should be. It's so irritating. I'm like, should I just get plastic bins and put them in the closet and just sort things that way? Like, here, throw your underwear in here. Your t-shirts are in this plastic bin. Like, maybe that's just how we need to function. And it's like Casey Davis, the struggle care or domestic blisters, always talks about how to make your house functional for how you use it and like how your family works. And maybe that's just something for us, throw your clothes in a plastic bin. So that has been bothering me. I told you guys that I had an announcement in this episode and I do. So before I talk your ears off without saying what that is. I'm very excited. We are moving in the summer, and I'm very excited. I love where we live now, but there's nothing around us. So if we want to go to a decent grocery store or go shopping or go to Indigo, which is like the big bookstore. What's the one in the US? What's the one in the US? I forget. Oh my God, Renee. Anyways, it's like the big, bookstore with the Starbucks, and I love going there. If we want to go to Toys R Us, if we want to do anything, it's like a 25 to 30 minute drive. We are also 25-minute drive from my husband's hospital, which is annoying because he's on call so much. Like for half the month, he's on call, and that's including a weekend. So if he just gets home from work and then gets called in, it's like there's an added hour for him just to travel to the hospital and back. So I'm not going to say exactly where we're moving. It is still in the Greater Toronto area, I think. I don't even know if it's considered that. Okay, I'll just tell you. No, I'm not going to tell you. It's in this area though, okay? But just stay tuned. Maybe I'll tell you next week. So yeah, I'm really excited. And so when I was thinking about moving, I was like, I need to hire somebody to, number one, help me purge the house. Like, we need to get rid of things that we don't use. Having a kid makes this job so difficult. Like, they go through toys and different interests and like the art supplies and all the Legos and the clothes, like grows out of clothes so quickly, and it's hard to keep up. Like somebody literally could have a part-time job just keeping my house organized and purging things that we no longer use or that Milo has grown out of. So before we move out of this house, I want to do that. I want to donate a ton of stuff, get rid of stuff that we don't use, so that when we move into a new house, we only have what we need and what we use. And then I want somebody to come in and set up the house to be functional and organized. So I always try and do this myself. Every time I go to HomeSense, I'm like, oh my God, I need 45 clear containers. And then I like put them throughout the house and they end up being half the clutter in the house because I don't use them properly. They're not in the right spot. They're not the proper size for where I need them. And it's just a nightmare. So I'm going to try and find someone on Instagram that this is their life's work, is organizing and setting people up in a new house. So I'm very excited about that. Also, so the other night I woke up at 2 a.m. and I started ruminating about how we don't do toy rotation in the house. Like we never have. Again, it's like an added job, something that I just don't want to spend time doing. So Milo literally has bins of just toys thrown in the bin. He's got 2 in his bedroom. We have a ton in the guest room upstairs that was supposed to be the playroom that I half set up, pretty sure because I have ADHD and I'm so gung-ho on something for a week and then it just dies off. So he's got a ton of toys in there. And then there's a bin in the dining room that doesn't have a dining table, that's attached to our kitchen. A massive bin there just full of toys. And I felt bad. I was like, am I is he going to be okay because we're not doing toy rotation and he just has these massive bins of toys everywhere? Right now, the one that's in the dining room area is he tilted it over and the toys are just scattered everywhere. But anyways, I feel bad that we don't do toy rotation, but I don't know. And like, how old do you do that for kids? You know, like, is that something you do till they're like 10? Like, how does it work? Anyways, so there was that. And then last night I was posting about how his new favorite thing to do right now is cut up the little jujitsus. Anyways, they're like these squishy superhero toys. I think they come in different characters as well. And he decided, no, this is what happened. I was sitting in the living room and he comes up to me with his scissors and one of the little squishy guys. It was one of the mini ones. And he's like, Mommy, on my show, they said if I wanted to cut this and use my scissors, that I had to ask you if I could do it. And I was trying to piece together what he was telling me. And then it dawned on me, I was like, oh my God, they must have in this YouTube video cut up these goo toys, because a lot of them have little things inside of them, like little squishy balls, or like the Flash character has little lightning bolts. Batman has like little bats. And I was like, they must have done a YouTube show where the kids cut these toys up and like explore what's inside and play. But they must have given kids the warning, if you want to do this, you have to ask your parents. So he came over and asked me like so nicely. So I was like, okay, yes, like you can cut that one, like go ahead. I didn't give him limitations, which is my fault. But so he cuts it up. He's like snipping it up. And this one didn't have anything inside of it. It was literally just like a small, like, what do you call it? Like a stretchy little Spider-Man or something. So I'm like, okay, like that's fun. And then he started going around the house and getting the bigger ones that are filled with stuff and cutting them open. And he was in his bathroom. Like, it's so funny. And I was like, well, my husband's a surgeon. Like, maybe he's just, you know, maybe this is genetic and he's just interested in cutting things. Like, I don't know. And like looking at what's inside, it's kind of funny. But then I was posting about that on Instagram and somebody was like, oh my God, those things are like $20 each. And I was like, I know that. Like, I know that. We bought them. But he hasn't played with them for weeks. They've just been hanging around the house. And now he's really interested and excited about cutting them open and exploring what's inside and playing with them. So I don't have a problem with that. Like, I to me, like, an activity like that, it was actually kind of cute how into it he was, until he started like cutting them up into small pieces and putting them into Bluey's bathtub. And that was like it was a little bit odd. But Tanya said it's okay. So if Tanya says it's okay, then it's okay. So the next thing that I will be reviewing, or trip that I will be reviewing, is on my Renee REINA _reviews Instagram account. I can't believe there's over 3,000 followers on that. I'm like pretty excited because that's what I want to do when I grow up, is be a reviewer of things. I could just picture Milo's going to be off in university and his mom's going to be like this reviewer that just travels and like tries restaurants, and people invite me places to give my opinion. Remember, did I already say this, or did I just think it in my head? Did you read the book Hotel Nantucket? You know how in that book there's the reviewer that they're so worried is going to come to the hotel, and she's like disguises herself as somebody else? That's what I want to do. I want to do that. So my husband and I are going to New York if everybody stays healthy and things go to plan. And I'm going to review the hotel that we stay at. I'm going to review any restaurants that we go to, Broadway shows or theater things. We haven't exactly decided what we're going to do yet, but I'm very excited. So that will be coming up probably closer to the end of March. Also, it's my birthday on Tuesday, so that's exciting. I totally days just go by. Oh my God, it's like that Keith Urban song, Days Go By. Whatever happened to Keith Urban? I can in the wind. Anyways, days go by and I'm just like, holy shit, like you are turning 38 on Tuesday. It was so cute. I was at the grocery store and the guy that was checking out, like doing my groceries, like scanning them, he was like, he scans the Spider-Man yogurts and he's like, oh, are you shopping for a family? And I'm like, that's a weird question, but I was like, yeah. And then it dawned on me because he had scanned the Spider-Man yogurts, you know, like he's like, oh, are you buying those for yourself? Or so I'm like, yeah, I have a 4-year-old. And he was like, no way, you do not strike me as somebody that has a child. I was like, yeah. And I was like, I'm 38. And he was like, no way. Like, there's no way. And I was like, oh my God, maybe I don't need to get Botox yet. Like, don't get me wrong, I get Botox. I mean, like, for the next appointment. But this, I don't like when my forehead, it is so crazy the difference that Botox makes. For me, this is totally off topic, but for me, I love that it makes the muscles in my face feel more relaxed because I carry all my tension in my face. This is why I go get acupuncture on like my temples and my jaw, because I should probably be getting Botox in my jaw for sure, which I might do next time I go just to see if it makes a difference. But yeah, I remember the first time I got it, I was like, oh my God, can you just like Botox my entire upper body, like my shoulders, my back, just to feel this freedom? She said no. Book report before I go. So I'm done MAME. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. MAAME. I'm done that book. I would give it like a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed the story. My mom said she was going to read it, but when she read the description, she found it to be a little bit young for her. I don't know why. I guess because it's like a girl in her 20s just trying to figure things out. I really liked the story. It wasn't like, oh my God, I need to know what happens next. But it was just a good story, which is what I love to read before bed. The new book that I'm reading is called The Measure. Oh yeah, I wanted to read you guys the description of the book, The Measure. I started it last night and it is so interesting. They're reading it, or they have already read it, for the Redheads, which is a book club on Instagram. And I just quickly looked at the description and I was like, oh my God, yes, I want to read this. So this is the little description. It seems like any other day. You wake up, pour a cup of coffee, and head out. But today, when you open your front door, waiting for you is a small wooden box. This box holds your fate inside. The answer to the exact number of years you will live. From suburban doorsteps to desert tents, every person on every continent receives the same box. In an instant, the world is thrust into a collective frenzy. Where did these boxes come from? What do they mean? Is there truth to what they promise? As society comes together and pulls apart, everyone faces the same shocking choice. Do they wish to know how long they'll live? And if so, what will they do with that knowledge? It says, it's enchanting and deeply uplifting. The Measure is a sweeping, ambitious, and invigorating story about family, friendship, hope, and destiny that encourages us to live life to the fullest. So it is written by Nikki Ehrlich. So yeah, I started it last night and I'm loving it so far. So anywho, I was going to talk about work drama. Maybe I'll talk about that next week. Like just the dilemmas that I'm constantly facing of like, I'll get into it next week. Anyways, I made a job posting. I'm going to be posting that at some point to hire a content creator / graphic designer kind of person. So if that sounds like you and you are looking for part-time, fun stuff, then stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's it for me. And I have a recording in 20 minutes for a guest interview. So I hope everybody is gonna have a great weekend. And thank you so much for listening, and share this podcast with your friend. Okay? Be a good friend. So that's it for me. Bye. I hope you guys sleep tonight. Oh, and your child doesn't wake up at 5:30 screaming. Okay? Because that's what happened to us. So, bye.